So we're on day number 17 of 30 days of GoPro, and I'm actually gonna use the GoPro today. You know, I've been talking about all the technical stuff. I've been talking about all the settings and modes and all that stuff. Well, I actually wanna put all that info to good use and actually use the camera. So today we're gonna talk about exposure control, because the Hero 5 Black has some really great exposure control settings. It's really easy to change. So I am shooting this in my car with my DSLR. I'm not on my GoPro because I can't shoot from the GoPro and show you the GoPro at the same time, right? So by exposure, I'm talking about how dark or light the image is, or the video is, that your GoPro is capturing. And the Hero 5 Black adjusts your exposure automatically as you're shooting, which is awesome. The downside of that is it actually takes the whole frame into account and just kind of makes a guess as to which part of your image you want to expose for. So the reason why I'm in my car is because a really great example of why exposure control is a great option on the Hero 5 Black is because when you're shooting from your car, you might want to be getting the shot of what's going on inside the vehicle or outside the vehicle, but your GoPro is kind of going to guess. You don't want the GoPro to guess. You want to tell the GoPro what part of your frame to expose for. Otherwise, if you're trying to shoot what's going on outside your car, you may end up with it being way overexposed. Likewise, if you're trying to shoot something from inside your car, it may be underexposed because maybe the GoPro is going to guess that you wanted it to be exposed for the outside. So I'm going to drive around a little bit with my GoPro and show you some examples of what I'm talking about here. I have a flat sticky mount up here on top of my windshield, and that's on a swivel mount, which has a ball joint. So you can kind of change the angle any which way here. So that's really handy. And this way I can shoot some footage, you know, either facing me or my family inside the car. And then I have this curved sticky mount down here on the dash, so I can face that inside or outside as well. On a sunny day like today, there's gonna be a ton of light outside the car and inside too, but obviously not as much. So if the GoPro is adjusting exposure automatically, it's going to just make a guess whether to expose for the bright, shiny sun outside or the darker light on the inside of the car. So you're driving around on a sunny day and you want to capture what's outside, so you'll want to set the exposure for the outside, and that's it. If the clouds come, or if you're driving where it's a little more shadowy or under trees, it's still going to adjust the exposure for what's going on outside. And then if you wanted to turn your camera around and shoot inside your car, you would set the exposure for the inside. And if you go inside of a garage or a car wash or something, it's going to expose everything automatically to the best of its ability. So all you have to do to adjust your exposure is tap and hold on your touch screen, and then just tap or drag that square that pops up anywhere you want on your frame, and it's going to expose for that section of your frame. You can also lock your exposure, so instead of the GoPro automatically adjusting to the part of your frame that you select with the exposure control, you can actually select the exposure and then lock it. So as things move around in your frame, the exposure is going to stay exactly the same and not adjust automatically. So I'm going to lock the exposure so that it's exposing for the outside for the nice bright sunlight. And then if I go inside the car wash, you're gonna see how it's not gonna be exposed correctly. It's gonna be way too dark in there. An even better example is if I lock the exposure while I'm inside the car wash, so now it's exposing for that darker kind of area. Now when I drive out, everything's gonna be totally blown up and way overexposed. So this might be useful for you if you do a lot of skiing and you're kind of surrounded by that really bright snow, and you don't want the camera to expose your entire image for the snow, right? Because then everything else is going to be underexposed. So to lock your exposure, after you set it, you tap the bottom there and it's going to just flip over to a little lock icon, and then you know that you have locked your exposure. So now you know how to adjust the exposure on your Hero 5 Black. Don't forget that that option is there. There's no obvious button or anything. You just tap the screen and hold, and then you have the ability to change the exposure. And if you haven't grabbed my GoPro Settings Cheat Sheet yet from back in video number 1, you can do that now, and stick around. I'll see you tomorrow.